It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. We're live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. Appreciate Mike Griffin from the AJC joining us earlier, Charlie Potter from Bama Online, and joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline from the SEC Network, former Alabama basketball star Richard Hendrix joins us here on Three Man Front. Richard, I hope you're doing well on a beautiful Tuesday.
Doing great, guys. Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, listen, always our pleasure. And we are kind of at the midway point of this SEC season. And as you kind of take a 30,000-foot view right now, Richard, of this league as a whole, I know we might not get 14 teams in the big dance this year, but so far, just your assessment of where the league stands as far as the depth goes.
Well, as far as the depth going, I would say my 30,000 feet view over top is just to say it's still wide open. You can't see who the leader is from that view right now, but it's starting to emerge to be Florida, who a lot of people thought it would be. When you have that talented front line that's getting a lot more experience in the backcourt is starting to get with them. But, as far as the league is concerned, I think it's a wide open league. I think you still have a lot of opportunity with the halfway point right now. There are some teams that jumped off the page with with Florida and with Texas A&M. That's a team right there that I look at, and I don't think they're going anywhere. I think with their style of play, I think they're going to be able to take advantage of some people with their press and speed them up. And they have a big challenge with Alabama tomorrow. So a lot of really good teams in the league. But I'm looking at Florida being the one that's got, the advantage right now. But it's still a lot of work to do.
So keeping on with that, Richard, who are some teams right now, and you just mentioned Florida, Texas A&M, and that might be your answer for this, but as we're at this halfway point, are there maybe a couple of teams that you've noticed, man, I really think this team is trending in the right direction for the second half of the season, and then maybe a couple of teams that you think right now, they're going to have to figure some things out because they're trending in the wrong direction for the second half of SEC play?
Well, I think trending in the right direction has to be Tennessee. I think with their ability to go on the road in Tuscaloosa and get that win, playing really good defensive basketball. They have a 3-game win streak going. You know that travels. They have to figure out how they're going to limit their turnovers. That would be the team that I'm looking at that's kind of in the middle of the pack, that's trending in the right direction. And Vanderbilt has started to regain a little bit of their swagger. They've been able to hold on to some tough wins as of right now. But it's those teams right there that are trending in the upward direction, as well as we touched on Texas A&M and Florida, the teams that I think are going in the other direction and really have to have a sense of urgency right now. I have to start with Alabama. This is a team that really, really that has a lot of talent. You bring Bediako back into the fold, and I think high expectations were high. But to go 1-2 with him back into the lineup, this next game that they have at home against Texas A&M, to me, is a must-win.
In regards to Bediako, when you look at his game, when he departed Alabama, what he's bringing to the table now, what jumps off the page to you, Richard, in regards to his development? Where has he improved his game the most?
Well, I think offensively what he's been able to improve with is the subtle details of being able to play pick-and-roll basketball. I think a lot of people, when they watch ball screen action, you think it's just as simple as setting the screen and rolling to the basket and then the guard has to find you. But if you notice his footwork, if you notice the tempo in which that he goes into these ball screen actions, the angle that he sets them, and the decisions that he makes to roll or to hold the screen or to slip out of there or to play in the short roll, I think those are things that he's improved on over the last couple years when he's been in the G League. Now, I think defensively, I would have liked to have seen a bigger step forward as far as aggression is concerned with shot blocking skills. Now, he did have 4 block shots in the last game, but his ability to protect the rim, I think, could have improved more over the last couple of years, as well as his mobile range in the paint and his defensive rebounding range. He's always been a solid rebounder, but at 7 foot, he's mainly been a rebounder to get balls that come directly to him. I would like to see him be more of a rebounder that's going to get rebounds outside of the paint, that can even get tips on the offensive side and get multiple possessions for the team, and even pull strong rebounds against more physical players and even a double team. Those are the type things that you have to have as a big man, that if you're going to be an elite big man, that you really have to be able to dominate when you have a single coverage or even double coverage on a box out when it comes to pulling the rebound in your area. And those are things that I think he would need to improve on. But offensively, in the screen roll action, he's improved tremendously. But still, he's not a technical low post player with a touch from the outside. It's going to be in the lob threat that he's going to be most effective.
So, Richard, with this Alabama team as a whole now, you just mentioned they're one of the teams that you would say right now is maybe trending in the wrong direction. When you look at the team this year, is there one thing that stands out as their biggest flaw or the biggest issue? Maybe it's injuries for you. I didn't know if there's one thing that you kind of look at with this team and go, oh, that's the biggest issue that they have right now.
I don't think it's injuries. I think players got to have a mentality of next man up. And oftentimes, you can look at injuries and very well point that as the excuse for your success. But in Alabama's case, they have a lot of talent, 1 through 12 on this roster. To me, it's the consistency of play, particularly after you have a big win. When you have guards that are leading the way and they do it in such a flashy manner, it's easy to get away from a lot of the grinding, dirty work stuff that you have to do to win games because the beauty of the game is so aesthetically pleasing in which Philon and Holloway are able to be productive. So when they have a big win, like in the first game against Kentucky, it's going to be expected that you're going to come back the next game against Vanderbilt and you're going to easily do the same thing. Or if you have a big win against on the road, and then you come back and then you come and have Tennessee at home, you think it's going to be easy, and then they hold you under 80 points. The same thing, you had a game against Missouri, and you have a big showing and you blow them out. Then you have another game that you follow up, and you're not able to get it done in their last outing. So, these are the things that you have to make sure that you have is a mentality that every single game you're going to bring the fight to the opponent. I would anticipate them coming off of their last game that there's going to be a sense of urgency in their upcoming bout against Texas A&M. But that type of urgency is what you have to have night in, night out against every opponent.
Richard Hendrix joins us here on the Higginbotham Hotline on Three-Man Front. You can hear Richard's work there on the SEC Network. What's your assignments this week, Richard? You got the Bama A&M game coming up?
I do. I'll be on the call in Tuscaloosa for that one. So
all right.
It should
Let's
be a
talk
good
about
matchup.
Yeah, let's talk about Bucky, because the thing that's amazed me about what Bucky has been able to do in College Station is the fact that he was hired so late in that cycle. And granted, he was able to go out and get some guys out of the portal, get some transfers, but we all know Bucky pretty well and what he did at Samford, that maybe perhaps he doesn't have the full roster of what you would expect him to have once he has a full recruiting season. But when you look at this Bucky team this year, this version, what jumps off to you? What is the most impressive aspect of what this Aggie team has been able to do so far?
See, I think the opposite. I think a lot of times people look at it when you come in late and you're a coach as him that you're at a disadvantage. But it's the guy that just within the last 5 years, he's coaching in the high school ranks. And when you coach on the high school level, your roster changes every single year. You don't know if this year you're going to have size. Maybe you have someone coming down the pipeline that might have some. You don't know if you're going to be quick. You don't know if your players are going to be 5 guards that are your best 5 players. You don't know if you're going to have 5 bigs that are your best players. So you're going to have to be creative and to get it done to be successful. And it works into his advantage that he's able to get whatever he has and he makes it work. I think Nate Oates had a similar situation when he first came to Alabama, and he was able to inherit some of Avery Johnson's players, and then a couple years later he's highly successful with Herb Jones and John Petty and that crew. It's the same thing with Texas A&M. You have guys that you brought in that you're going to do everything you can to put them in a situation to succeed. They've bought into your system, and you've been successful early on in SEC play. For me, I'm looking to see what it's going to be like a couple of years down the road when everyone wants to be a part of what you're doing, and you're bringing in 4- and 5-star recruits, potentially McDonald's All-Americans. And are they going to be willing to press for 40 minutes and sub out of the game, in and out of the game, to get other players into it? So that's how I tend to look at it, that in some ways, coming from the high school ranks, he's at an advantage than coaches who come up from the college ranks and are used to being with the best talent, and they know that's the only way you have to operate to win games.
Richard, I wanted to take some time to talk about the Auburn Tigers here because that's a team, we saw them. They had that great win over Florida just a couple of weeks ago. Then they stubbed their toe against Tennessee this weekend. But, before we kind of talk about them as a whole, I wanted to ask you about Tahad Pettiford and just kind of your assessment of his season, because I think I don't think I was the only one that when he announced he was coming back for this year that I immediately thought this is an all-SEC guy, potentially an all-American guy, a really, really talented player. Do you think with him, is it some mental struggles this year? His shot just doesn't seem to be falling. And, I mean, now that we're 20-plus games into the year, it just kind of seems to be what it is. What's your assessment of Tahad Pettiford's sophomore season, and can he get out of this slump that he's seemingly been in all year?
Well, I think first and foremost, he's a talented player. But if you compare what he did from last year in a little bit more of a limited role with a star-studded veteran roster, it's much easier when you have a Janai Broome who can command a double team, when you have other veteran players around you that can score and shoot like a Kelly and a Chad Baker-Mazara. So the role changes for him in that particular situation. I think when I watch the tape, I think the degree of difficulty of the shots that he takes are too high. And I would like to see him get to the free throw line a little bit more and get some easy buckets as far as that way. We've seen flashes of supreme level athleticism when he's able to finish above the rim. But if he's able to get that type of mentality to attack the basket and he can draw fouls and go to the line and get the shooting rhythm built up from the free throw line, I think he would be much better of a player. He would also be better if he takes the easy shots. He takes a high degree of difficulty and entrust the game to come to you. When he's facilitating and dishing it to everybody else, that softens the defense, and then the ball will come back to him. Then it will be his time to operate. But maybe a little bit of a sophomore slump, but I think the biggest reason is because it's a different team, and you have a totally different role, and now you're at the top of the scouting report.
Richard, in regards to prior to the season, when you look at the teams that were supposed to be the teams to beat, and those teams that may be underneath the radar. I don't want to talk about the teams that haven't performed up to what the experts predicted before the season. I want to talk about the teams that are kind of come out of nowhere. Is there a team or two for you, Richard, that's been the surprise of the league so far? I know we've still got 9 to 10 games left in league play, but is there one or two that so far has been a pleasant surprise in your opinion?
Outside of Texas A&M, I think that would be it. I was early on predicted that I thought Vanderbilt would be the dark horse to win the SEC. And I think that Mark Byington has done a tremendous job with his style of play and getting his players to buy into what he's able to do in a short amount of time. But, to me, if I look at the standings, it's kind of chalk. It's kind of going about what I thought it would be. Now, I did think Alabama would be a little bit higher up, but I do think it's still a lot of time left. They're 8 games into their schedule, and they're a team that a lot of teams don't want to play because they know that they have a talented backcourt, and now you have 2 bigs down low with Sherelle and Bediako. So to me, those would be the teams that I think are a little inconsistent in Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt have caught my eye as to being able to exceed expectations. But listen, it's a lot of basketball left, and the back 9 SEC play is going to be tough, particularly when you look at the schedules of some of the teams that are at the top of the standings. It's not going to get any easier. And the urgency of the teams like Alabama and Auburn that were picked to be at the top of the standings, and Tennessee as well, they're going to start flexing their muscle, and it's going to be very difficult to get a win against those teams. So I think it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be everybody who's in that top half right now has a legitimate chance to win it. Florida is in the edge right now. But they're not unbeatable, and you have a lot of really good teams. Arkansas is another one. You cannot leave them out in the Razorbacks.
All right, Richard. Richard Hendrix from the SEC Network joining us for a couple more minutes here on Three-Man Front. I wanted to just get your thoughts on Kentucky because I feel like Kentucky, it's like every time they have a bad loss this year, then they respond with a big win, right? They get the big one over Arkansas this past weekend. What do you kind of make of Kentucky? Because as maybe doom and gloom it's been sometimes from that fan base. I mean, they're sitting here 6-3, top 5 in the conference. What do you make of the Wildcats right now?
Well, I think they're talented, and I think in many ways everybody talks about the $22 million roster. You talk about the non-conference losses that they had and the injuries that they had this season. But from my experience, when you actually, have some injuries and the roster is shortened and you're only playing 7 and 8 players, it makes it much easier to win games because now from a player standpoint, you have to be depended on and counted upon to be productive. You know how many minutes you're going to get. And the coaching staff doesn't have to make as many decisions about who they're going to put in the game because they just don't have the options. So everybody can sit back and focus on winning the game and giving it your all without anybody being having a negative mentality that could be bringing down the team morale and the team chemistry within the rotation. So they're a dangerous team. And I think they're kind of been flying under the radar because I think a lot of people have looked at them as that they're not as talented. Now, their wins have been very close, and they've been able to steal some at the end, which is a big reason for their 6-3 record in conference. So they have a lot of room to improve, and they're getting better. But I do think as far as consistency of play, they have some work to do to improve because they might not be as good as their 6-3 record as right now. But if they work on it, then they can be in the mix as well.
That is Richard Hendrix. You can hear him tomorrow night on the call as Alabama will be hosting the Texas Aggies and Bucky McMillan. Richard, always great to catch up with you. Have a great call tomorrow night. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
That's Richard Hendrix. Join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. He said it. Must-win game tomorrow night for Alabama.
Absolutely. He said they're one of those teams that's trending in the wrong direction, but, you get a win over Buckyball, and maybe you pull off a win there in Neville over the weekend, and there'll be a different tune for the fan base. But, hey, nobody knows SEC ball better than Richard Hendrix, and that was a great breakdown of about half the conference there that we got a breakdown of. So always appreciate Richard.
Sure did. We will talk to SEC Mike from that SEC podcast coming up at the bottom of the hour. He's already got some predictions out for Alabama and Auburn football for 2026. At 1 o'clock, Dimitri Ravanos will join the program. All that straight ahead on a very busy Taco Tuesday here at Social Taco. It is 12:20. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. We are live at Social Taco. Thanks for tuning us in on this beautiful Tuesday. Great crowd as always. Want to remind everybody that we'll be back on the road on Friday, a very special event. Hope you will join us at Crafts on 280. If you're not familiar with this brand new restaurant, if you know 280 right as you're coming out of Homewood, as you're heading down 280 to the left, it's the old Wendy's location, which is now Crafts on 280. We will be there in conjunction with our friends at the Birmingham Stallions. It's going to be a lot of fun. The event is going to start from 11 to 1. Guests are going to include A.J. McCarron, JoJo Tillery, Michael Hires, one of the brand new quarterbacks they've just signed who played at Sanford, Mason Brooks. Free lunch for the first 50 fans. So 11 to 1 is the event. We will be live from 10 until 2.
Yes.
But the event itself is 11 to 1. Free lunch for the first 50 fans that are in attendance there at Crafts on 280. There's also going to be some giveaways that the Stallions will be giving away. I was communicating with Heather over at the Stallions yesterday afternoon, and they're expecting a really big crowd. So get there early and enjoy the festivities with the Birmingham Stallions and three-man front.
Absolutely. I mean, I pass Crafts every day on my way to the station, and I told you the other day, like, I'm just really excited on Friday, not just to see everybody, but I'm really excited to try the food because I drive by it every day, and it's like, man, that's right up my alley, but I know we have this event, so I've been holding off. But, I mean, you just look at their menu: chicken fingers, buffalo chicken dip, chicken sandwiches, wings, burgers, all the good stuff. They have salads as well, wraps, and all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, it looks fantastic. Can't wait to get out there on Friday and try some good food and giddy up, get ready for another great year of Stallions football.
Yeah, so hopefully it's supposed to be good weather. I think it's like 57
almost
and sunny.
60.
Yeah, almost 60 degrees on Friday. So hope you'll get an opportunity to swing by and see the Stallions and say hello to us from Three Man Front. Had a buddy of mine, he called me the other day and he said, hey, listen, I need to buy Roofing's phone number because I had some damage over the weekend, had some wind, had something fall over on the roof. They got some shingle damage. And so while they're up there at Abide Roofing at 205-577-7338, they're going to take a look at everything that's going on because this is an older home, and so it might be time to look at a full roof replacement. But more than anything, because he's got damage, Abide Roofing, they're the insurance claim masters. That's what happened to me. I had some damage because of some storms. They were able to deal with my insurance company. They're going to help you navigate the process and the coverage that you deserve for the largest investment you're ever going to have, which is your home. They'll also guarantee any warranties, any work that they're going to do on your house. Abide Roofing, they've got your back there. Customers always come first, and I was firsthand knowledge of that as I saw them work from the very beginning, the first call that I had to Abide Roofing, all the way to the finished product. I have been extremely pleased with their work and the way my roof looks. So protect your home or your business. You need a roofing team that truly abides by quality. That's Abide Roofing, 205-577-7338, or just go to their website, abideroof.com. Already on the program today, Mike Griffith from the AJC, DogNation.com, Charlie Potter from Bama Online. You just heard Richard Hendrix coming up in a couple of minutes, Conrad Van Order's favorite guest of all time, SEC Mike, also known as Michael Bratton from that SEC podcast.
Yeah, it'll be good. I don't think I've talked to Mike. It will have been a few months, and obviously we had a great time, last year getting to hang out at SEC Media Days and all that good stuff. But he's always highly entertaining, and one of the things that we are excited to talk to him about is he has put out his predictions for both Alabama and Auburn, what he predicts their record to be this fall, with obviously Alabama coming off a playoff berth and Auburn with a new head coach, so a lot of excitement around both programs. But I just came across this. This is from Brandon Marcello with CBS Sports. He has given his way too early SEC power rankings, Pat.
Power rankings.
Power rankings.
Okay.
So according to Brandon Marcello, right now, February the 3rd, this is how he views the conference. So we will start at the bottom and head to the top. So quickly at the bottom, Mississippi State at 16, Arkansas at 15. Not a lot of surprise there. Don't think that's a shocker. This may come as a little bit of a surprise, though. At number 14, in years past, not a surprise. But right now, Vanderbilt. So he is projecting what I imagine is a pretty large drop-off.
A rebuild.
For Vanderbilt without Diego Pavia. At number 13, he has Kentucky. A lot of people excited about Will Stein and what he's brought into that program.
Okay.
Number 12, the Auburn Tigers. Maybe playing a little bit of a wait and see. Brandon Marcello writes, Auburn will look more like USF North than the Auburn of old under Alex Golish, and that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
So we will wait and see there. Number 11, a school we've talked about a good bit today, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Does he have Joey Aguilar as their quarterback?
It says, does Tennessee's outlook change if Joey Aguilar wins his court case? Probably. Even so, I'm more curious about them hiring Penn State or former Penn State and Ohio State DC Jim Knowles.
Yeah, that's a big hire.
That is a massive hire there for Tennessee. At number 10, Florida Gators under John Sumrall. Some big expectations there in year one. South Carolina comes in at number 9. He had at the he did one in January. So he did one of these a month ago during the college football playoff. He had South Carolina 16th. He has now moved them up to 9 in a month. So some optimism there for South Carolina. Missouri at 8. So they would start the top half of the conference. At number 7, Ole Miss. Fresh off a college football semifinal run. He says, we might be too hard on Ole Miss in the post-Lane Kiffin era, but with the uncertainty surrounding Trinidad Chambliss eligibility and a revamped offensive staff, it's okay to have some caution. You agree with that? Okay. Number 6, the Alabama Crimson Tide. He says, we might not be talking enough about how much Alabama could fall off in Kalen DeBoer's 3rd season.
Okay, well, if he says that, then why does he have him 6th?
Because I guess for Alabama, that's a massive fall-off, Pat. That would mean they're, I'm assuming, somewhere around maybe like 20.
I mean, to me, that's just an asinine statement. Not saying that the ranking is wrong. I'm just saying you make a statement like that a dramatic drop-off. Well, if it's a dramatic drop-off, then have him down there with Vandy at 10 or 11.
He says, but I have a weird feeling about the buy-in in Tuscaloosa, which was only amplified by Hollywood Smothers opting to transfer to Texas after initially committing to Alabama in January. Thought that's kind of an interesting note there.
So he's taking Hollywood Smothers' word for it than the Alabama side of things, because he gave an interview to On3 in which he said that there was not the commitment from Alabama.
That is correct. It seems like Brandon Marcello is taking his word for that. Number 5, LSU in year one with Lane Kiffin.
Okay. Who's at 4?
Number 4, we have Oklahoma. Okay. That's, I don't know about Oklahoma. And then the top 3, I don't think this is a huge surprise. Texas A&M, number 3. He says they bring back some big names but lost the majority of offensive and defensive line. Number 2, he has Georgia, defending SEC champions for 2 years in a row. And then, unsurprisingly, at number 1, we have Moneybags over there in Texas atop his power ranking. So just kind of an interesting look, but Auburn at 12, Alabama at 6. And even though he has Alabama at 6, saying a big fall-off potentially on the way for the Crimson Tide.
All right, let's quickly go to the phones because we have one of our regulars here at Taco Tuesday. He is currently in Aruba. Howie is on a cruise.
Oh, what's up, Howie?
And he has stopped off in Aruba. What's going on, man?
Man, it's hot here. It feels so good, though. We're in Aruba for the day. We're here until 9:30, 8:30 local.
All right, so give us what are we looking at in regards to the weather? What's the temperature right now?
It's a couple clouds. It's 78 with a breeze of about 10 miles per hour.
Oh wow!
So
That's
I've already
beautiful.
got sunburn I got sunburn at the beach within an hour.
Oh wow! You've been playing shuffleboard on the deck of the cruise ship. What you been doing?
No, it's been rainy on the cruise ship past couple of days, but we're here and it's warm now.
Well, I tell you what, you sound like you're next door to Social Taco right now. That's a great phone connection.
Everybody say hi. All right. So the thing is, I did a scorpion shot. It was a shot of Patron. It has a scorpion in it.
Oh my goodness!
Wait, what?
And I got the shirt with it.
Like you have to eat the scorpion?
Wait,
yeah, they're dead. They're a little small thing, but you don't chew it. You just
Is
swallow
it crunchy? Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I feel like
I didn't chew it.
More power to you, Howie. I don't think I'd be doing that one.
It was $28 a shot, but I mean, we got the
$28
and the video, Yep. And the video.
Don wants to see the video when you get back.
Oh yeah, we definitely send it. I'll send it to you when I get internet tomorrow.
That sounds good. Hey, Howie, tell your wife hello. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Hi.
Hey, Miss Howie.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Howie.
We'll
All right,
talk
thanks,
to y'all.
Howie.
We'll get back next week.
All right,
bye.
sounds good. Thank you. See you. Howie calling us from Aruba.
I love it. And now we have a chant of sorts breaking out here at
Who
Social Taco.
knows? Who knows? Maybe they're excited about SEC Mike about
That's
to come
absolutely what it is.
on. Yes. SEC Mike from that SEC podcast is next. It's 12:34. Welcome back, and a beautiful, not too cold on this Tuesday.
Oh, it's
Reminder:
great.
we'll be live at Crafts on 280 with the Birmingham Stallions coming up on Friday. It's supposed to be near 60 degrees, so come on by and see us. That event starts at 11 a.m. there at Crafts on 280. Always happy to be joined by our next guest, host of the SEC podcast, SEC Mike, also known as Michael Bratton legally. he joins the program. Mike, Happy New Year. Hope you're well.
Hey, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
All right, let's get right to it. Conrad has been absolutely excited.
Chomping at the bit, Mike.
I have not seen him this excited, Mike, since we were in Atlanta watching the home run derby with you. I mean, that was good stuff. All right, so you've already kind of I think you maybe was it on Sunday when you started kind of throwing out some early predictions for 2026? Is that when you started debuting some of this stuff?
Yeah, well, it's funny that this is actually the second time this offseason I've predicted the records. It's a slow offseason, but this is updated after the transfer portal.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, now over the last few years, one of the favorite topics and one of the audio clips that has been gold for us was that you always picked on Hugh Freeze, always. Talking about him shopping at Dollar General for his quarterbacks, and that came to fruition because now he's fired. So my question is, what will you pick on Auburn about this year? Is there anything in particular?
Well, I mean, I don't call them the Tigers anymore. I refer to them as the Auburn Bulls. I don't know if that's really mocking them because that's
true.
Realistically what they are.
Right. All right. Well, in regards to the Auburn Tigers, what do you think? What he has done in the transfer portal and just the excitement level. What do you think?
Well, I could understand some apprehension, and I've heard behind the scenes that maybe Coach Golish was not fully understanding the situation that he would be walking into at Auburn, and by that, the way it's been explained to me, just the ridiculous salaries for players that essentially did not perform to a large extent. So I understand why there's been a transition, and now we got the Auburn Bulls coming in here, and why fans would be upset because, you buy into the recruiting rankings and you expect, these are really good players, but they didn't really showcase it to my knowledge, a lot of them. So I think what he's done is actually smart, and I think that lowers the expectation for Auburn, and that's usually when they exceed the preseason predictions. So I think Auburn is walking into a good situation. I think they're going to be a much better team without the golfer as the head coach.
All right, so I wanted to ask you something specifically with your prediction. So you have Auburn at 7-5, but I noticed you have them, and what I imagine will be quite a large upset probably, beating LSU on October 24th.
Oh.
Is there something specific with LSU in that matchup, or is it more so you just think this is an Auburn team that's going to surprise somebody and maybe pull off beat an Alabama or an Ole Miss or a Georgia or an LSU, and you just kind of picked LSU? What was your thought process there?
Well, I mean, even with the televangelist as the head coach, Jordan Hare was a difficult place to play. It's always a difficult place to play, and it's going to remain that, and I think be even better with a qualified head coach. So I think getting them at home, and I call Lane Kiffin. I call him Lane Quitting because he's for me he'll never live down the fact that he quit on his team. But before I start calling him Lane Quitting, I called him Lane Whiffin because there was always a game or two that he whiffed on the schedule, and I think it'll be next year at Auburn, where I do think LSU is going to be really good, but I think Auburn is fully capable of upsetting them, and I don't even know if it will be an upset. But the fact that Auburn's got Tennessee, Georgia right before it, that will make that game against LSU tough. But I think you got to get one of the three in October, one of the four in October to have a quality season. So give me the home game.
It's interesting because we were talking to some of our listeners before the show began, and they were talking about that they were excited to hear some of your predictions on the program today, and a couple of Auburn fans. And we told them that you had predicted a 7-5. And again, this is in early February. This will probably change after spring ball or whenever your next rankings come out. And they were excited. I mean, they said 7-5. They'll sign us up for that because based on the way the Auburn football program has been the last couple of years, I think they'll take that. Have you heard from any Auburn fans about that 7-5 prediction?
Yeah, I think the biggest complaint that I've had, I have them losing to Florida, which would be the third week of the season. It's a home game. and quite honestly, Pat, you could convince me that they win that game too. So I mean, I might be even underselling what Auburn could be this year. I think they could be as good as 8-4. I really like the quarterback Brown that they're bringing in, and I really think the combination of DJ Durkin with Alex Golish, I think that's just going to be such a significant coaching upgrade for Auburn that that Auburn could be one of the biggest surprises in the conference this year. I really do believe that.
Michael Bratton, SEC Mike, host of That SEC Podcast, joining us here on the Higginbotham Hotline on Three Man Front. All right, Mike, let's pivot a little bit to Alabama. So you have Alabama projected at 9-3, and I'll be honest, I thought that was maybe a little more optimistic than I was expecting when you put out your predictions. We had somebody that covers Alabama on our show a couple weeks ago, and he was trying to prepare the fan base like, hey, 7-5, 8-4. Maybe not be out of the question for Alabama this upcoming year. So what makes you optimistic that Alabama could potentially get to 9-3 and maybe, hey, something goes their way, they're 10-2?
Well, I still, and maybe I'm on an island here, but I still am of the belief that Kalen DeBoer is an elite coach. I think there's a possibility he's one of the best in the game. And now I think we just grade him on such a curve because of the program he's at and of course, taking over for the greatest of all time. And there's been some speed bumps. There's been some inexcusable results. I get that. But I still think he's elite. I think Ryan Grubb, I just rated the offensive coordinators, and maybe this just points to the fact that maybe we don't have that many good coordinators in the Southeastern Conference right now. But I put Ryan Grubb as the best offensive coordinator in the SEC. I think they're going to be able to coach their way to a lot of wins this fall. And the biggest problem I think they're going to have is this new reality where they simply are owned by Tennessee and Neyland Stadium. So that's a loss for sure. Can they handle losing to Lane Quinton? I don't know, but I think at LSU, at Tennessee, those are going to be difficult. And the fact that Georgia finally beat Alabama in such impressive fashion, I don't think Georgia's going to be scared of Alabama anymore.
All right, so last year we had a pretty good idea who was going to be on the hot seat as we were in Atlanta, kind of playing it out. The folks that, Sam Pittman, Hugh Freeze, and ultimately those guys lost their job. As you said here and you were looking at your early February projections for the Southeastern Conference, I noticed that you got South Carolina, if I'm counting it right, with 5 losses. Is that right? 7-5. Does that save Shane Beamer? Does Beamer get back another year if he goes 7-5?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be difficult, isn't it? Because you mentioned hot seat, and I hate it because I think Beamer, he's one of my favorite coaches in the conference, but you can't argue that there was just, 4-8 with it, totally inexcusable with the talent on hand last season. So 7-5, that's certainly not the standard in Columbia, but man, this is particularly the last basically half of the season is, aside from a trip to Arkansas, which again, at Arkansas could be a dangerous team. The schedule's always a gauntlet for Carolina. So is 7-5 good enough? I think it should be, because I don't know. I think you talk hot seat. We basically fired everybody that was on the hot seat. I don't know that there's anyone truly on the hot seat anymore, but Beamer's right there. And the only other one that I would probably consider would be Jeff Levy. But I don't even know, how committed we are to football at Mississippi State the last couple of years, given the fact that we hired this guy and the fact that he's still the head coach. I don't think Mississippi State is committed.
Okay, well, that plays in perfectly to what my next question was going to be, Mike. So do you think it's asinine for anybody that would insinuate that Josh Heupel could be on a hot seat going into 2026?
Yeah, to say he's on the hot seat going into 26, I think that is asinine to choose the word you selected there. But I think so. I got Tennessee at 9-3. If they go 7-5 or worse, I think he could get fired. I really do. So that may be a confusing answer, but I don't think he's on the hot seat today. But I think he could coach his way onto the hot seat.
Could it be like a Brian Kelly situation last year, potentially? Like that kind of a situation?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think Tennessee fans are in a place where they realize Josh Heupel's done a good job, and he's made Tennessee relevant again, and they're no longer a laughing stock. But is he the coach that is capable of winning championships? And that remains to be seen. But I think Tennessee's bigger issue is they don't have the roster, they don't have the overall talent of some of these teams like a Georgia or Texas. Yet that's what Heupel is being judged against because of winning a lot of games on Rocky Top. So I think he could coach his way onto the hot seat, but I would not say he's on the hot seat today, if that makes sense.
Does it change one way or another if Joey Aguilar gets granted another season on Rocky Top? Does that have any influence whatsoever on your viewing of Tennessee this upcoming season?
I mean, it certainly it's got to a little, Pat, because you know what you're getting with Joey Aguilar. And I don't think he's necessarily the greatest quarterback, and I certainly, to be honest, I don't think Tennessee was eager to welcome him back. And I think you saw that with their pursuit of quarterbacks via the transfer portal. And now they obviously struck out, and all of a sudden Joey Aguilar looks a lot better, doesn't he?
He sure
it's kind
does.
of like when you're leaving the bar and you miss out on all the women you were after, but that one that was interested in you in the early of the night, all of a sudden she looks a lot better, doesn't she? So that's the position Tennessee finds itself in.
Conrad knows exactly what you're talking about, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I can confirm. He and I were at the bar last night, and that's exactly what went down. But I do think that Tennessee's got some capable quarterbacks, but we haven't seen them. So it's almost hard to put stock in McIntyre or the true freshman Faison, who was a five-star prospect.
It's odd that I'm going to ask you this question, Mike, because a couple of years ago, there's no way I would have, asked you a single thing about this team. But how big of a regression do you think Vanderbilt's in store for this upcoming season without Pavia?
I think it's going to be massive. I really do. I think it would be almost a miracle if they make a bowl game. And I hate to say that because I like Clark Lee. I like what he's doing, but I think losing Pavia, I think losing Stowers, they lost some other receivers. I just think just look at the track record of the coaching staff, and not even just Clark Lee, but is Tim Beck, his offensive coordinator, who did a really good job. Vanderbilt, by a lot of metrics, had the best offense in the country last year. The guy's been an offensive coordinator for over 15 years. He's never even had a top 20 offense till last year. So they need to do it without Pavia before I buy into the program that they're just going to be, competitive week in and week out in the Southeastern Conference. So right now I got Vanderbilt at 5-7, and even that was kind of being conservative.
That is Michael Bratton, SEC Mike, we like to call him. You can check him out on with Cousin Shane on that SEC podcast. Michael, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for hopping on, and I'm sure we'll be talking again as the spring progresses and spring ball gets underway. We always appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. That is SEC Mike. Joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. So what do you think? Auburn 7-5, according to SEC Mike. Alabama 9-3. We'll get into that next here on Three Man Front. It is 12:52. We'll talk to Dimitri Ravanos coming up at the top of the hour from Awful Announcing. Also, the college football bubble bath, who will be on the program coming up in just a couple of minutes. You know, a brand new year means continued incredible savings at Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Huge savings, up to $15,000 off of MSRP on Sierra trucks in stock. They've got plenty to choose from. AT4s, Denali's, SLTs, whatever you're looking for, it's on the lot. It is ready to go. Courtesy also has the 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 elevation crew cab with a Turbo Max engine. You need to take advantage of this incredible vehicle there at Courtesy GMC. And I remind you, every brand new GMC comes with a backed 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty, giving you confidence mile after mile. Shop their massive selection today in person off of I-459 exit 32 in Trussville. Check them out online at courtesybirmingham.com. Courtesy GMC in Trussville. We are professional grade.
So we just heard a lot from SEC Mike, and a lot to unpack there, and we'll have more time to do that after Dimitri in the 1 o'clock hour. I think the thing that he said that surprised me the most, and I don't know if you agree, Pat, did I hear him correctly? And he said Ryan Grubb is the best offensive coordinator in the SEC.
And he said that Kalen DeBoer is an elite coach. He also said that.
Yeah, the Kalen DeBoer, maybe that didn't surprise me as much. And again, I don't think Ryan Grubb is bad. There's a lot of Alabama fans that are very unhappy with what he did this year with that offense, and so I was just kind of surprised to hear SEC Mike vouch for him as maybe the very best out of the 16 that we have. So that caught me off guard a little bit.
It is interesting that he was being a little bit more optimistic about a 7-5 South Carolina team.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we look at it as, okay, you got Sellers back, you got Dylan Stewart back, but you had those guys last year. Yeah. Maybe changing the offensive coordinator is what they needed, but yeah, I'm with you. Now, I think maybe being 7-5 and having a better season, that's not out of the question, but I don't think we're going to hear many people predicting what they were last year, that South Carolina might be a playoff team or a 9-3 type of team in the SEC. I don't see that.
Yeah, and we'll see how the spring practice goes for all these teams before folks might put pen to paper again to try to figure out who is going to be the pecking order in the SEC, but goes without saying, just a couple of folks that we've already seen some early looks on. Texas is going to get the most love, just like they did last year.
Yep.
It was supposed to be Texas and Georgia in the SEC championship
And then we'll get
game.
to Tampa Bay, and it'll be LSU. And everyone will come together and go, you know what, that LSU team, I like them. Let's pick them.
Yeah, we saw a lot of LSU last year
Yes, we
at
did.
SEC Media Days, and we saw what happened. We will continue on. Hour number 4, straight ahead. We are live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. Taco Terrace has been busy as always. Appreciate everybody stopping by and seeing us. Dimitri Ravanos joins us next on Three Man Front.